Try running. Jesus. Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Autopilot video. And yeah, I just want to go over some more stuff, comments from people and whatnot. Yeah, first of all, I want to address the fact that Autopilot is not perfect. It definitely has a long way to go. And right here, it is not stopping. Okay, it's stopping. Great. See, in this type of turn, oh Jesus. Anyway, you have more of a heart attack driving than anything. So I don't see what the great thing about Autopilot is if everybody who keeps on saying, oh, if you have a problem, you're not supposed to be using it in that situation, blah blah blah, whatever. But that's not the point, actually. Oops, not going. Wow, look at all those people. So now I have a hold on. If you can see the H, all you have to do is press the brake down with a little bit more force, and the H comes on, and then it will be basically, it applies all 4 brakes on the car, not the parking brake, but the actual brakes. And all you need to do is apply accelerator to get rid of it. So I love this feature, and I use it all the time. But going back to using Autopilot in certain situations. So Tesla says, hey, you gotta keep your hands on the steering wheel at all times and be prepared to take over, correct? So what do you do with your feet? Are you supposed to be hovering your feet over the brakes or the accelerator? I would assume it would be the brakes. And the brakes are high. Have you ever tried to enable Autopilot and try to leave your foot on the brake without actually activating the brake? It is pretty tiring. It's more tiring than if you were actually driving yourself. So why would you do that? What is the point of having Autopilot if you have to basically at any given moment take over? By the way, this is how fall looks like here, and it's absolutely beautiful. And this is the only, yeah, and we have like some nice clouds today, so this is the only time I would actually notice how nice the having a big ass windshield is. But other times when I'm driving, I'm totally focused on here. I do not see up there or to the side or to the left. I don't notice anything else. So yeah, people rave about the windshield probably because they're distracted. They're not driving, or they're on autopilot or something. But yeah, now I get to enjoy what the fall foliage looks like, and it's beautiful. So yeah, yeah. So back to if you can't trust the system, right? Then there's no point in using it, because you're basically putting more stress on yourself to try to monitor the system, when in fact it's probably easier if you were to drive yourself, right? Why enable some sort of a assistance program when the assistance program isn't meant to assist you? So if you have your, if Tesla says, hey, you have to have your hands on it all the time, they didn't mention anything about your feet, and your feet becomes really tiring if you have to keep on holding your ankle up like this on top of the brakes and ready to brake, just like down there when I had that issue. So today we're going to see if it happens again. What I want to do is I want to try to slow it down a little bit, maybe to 50, right? And 50 is the speed limit here, and because this is a regular road with lights and stuff, it's not considered a highway. And let's see if it will stop this time. Please stop. Oh, someone's getting in front of me so that I can follow them. That's a great thing. Alright, there it goes. Stop. Okay, so this time it stopped because there was a car in front of me. Great deal. So, yeah, going back to the rant about Autopilot. Yeah, if it's not really going to help you in any way, right, shape or form, it's no better than traffic-aware cruise control, right? Traffic-aware cruise control is where it does it doesn't do the steering for you. So that's the only difference between Autopilot and traffic-aware cruise control. So if that's the only difference, right, and you're taking away my steering, if I have to hold on to the steering wheel, why wouldn't I steer myself? And then if I have to constantly question the system whether it's reliable or not, if it's going to be reliable enough to stop in time, then I would have to have my foot on the brakes, ready to take over at any moment, basically. So why would I put myself through that? So either you trust the system or you don't. It's just as simple as that. So, but for me, when I'm testing out the system, I'm fully alert, and if there's any turns coming or any type of thing that would stress out the system or the current system, I would be very cautious. So today looks like everything is working as expected. And again, we are coming to fall, so you're gonna see a lot of sun like this. And with the sun directly in the view of the mobile eye camera, which is basically what we're using to keep within the lanes, right? So here we go, we are enabling it. The sun is directly in view. It's getting lower and lower these days, and looks like Autopilot is seeing the lanes perfectly fine, no problems. This was how it was before. I mean, I've used Autopilot before version 8, and it performed fine with the sun directly in my face. And that was basically when I was driving to Toronto and from Toronto, and basically into the sunset, and perfectly fine. The only issue I had with the Toronto one was under certain circumstances, I didn't know why it just veered off and tried to ram me into something. So that was due to a smudge on the inside of the glass, which they fixed. And after that, I haven't had that issue before, except for one area on the 280. So there's a highway here called the 280, and for some reason there's a shadow that it casts, kind of weird looking shadow, and whenever I go by that on the left lane, it would try to veer into the medium. I don't want to go and try to capture it because it's only under some conditions, certain conditions, and again, there's always gonna be some condition for autopilot to not work. Like Elon's mentioned in his speeches, it's getting to like 95% or 99% is easy. It's the 99.9999%. So you have all these different corner cases that you have to account for. Just like with that issue yesterday, where autopilot the car moved over to the side, but autopilot immediately saw that there was a car stopped, and it just did nothing about it. No emergency brake, nothing. I've never had the emergency brake go off ever, and every time it warns me, it never applies the emergency brake. And I read through all the stuff in the manual about emergency braking. It says under certain circumstances it will not activate. So the circumstances is that if you were to apply gas or pump the brakes. So I would assume that means that you're under autopilot. So if you're under autopilot, you would never apply accelerator, or you would never apply the brakes because your feet are off the accelerator and off the brakes. So yesterday, that was what happened. Once it started blaring about the whatever, if you go back and you watch the video, I applied the brakes at the very last moment, and any later I would have plowed into that car. So I was basically speechless about it, and in shock, as you can imagine. But I've seen that video of the other guy hitting it, so I know what autopilot is capable of, and I know to watch out for certain things. And I had that situation happen to me a couple times already, so I know when autopilot may not stop. So I'm very cautious when it comes to turns and autopilot not seeing certain things. And I've monitored all the news regarding autopilot and how certain situations can happen. And in the beginning, you see them, you didn't experience it yourself, you're gonna doubt them. And I know that a lot of Tesla fanboys would go and immediately say, oh, it's your fault, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You should have been paying attention. Bullshit. The system failed in that corner case, okay? So don't blame the guy. He was expecting the car to stop, but it didn't. So anyway, I don't agree with a lot of how many Tesla fanboys just automatically assume people are lying. But there are a lot of these parking lot incidents where there's some people that shouldn't be driving Teslas because, hey look, there goes that white Tesla again. Some people should not be driving these powerful cars. They have unlimited funds and they buy their wives these really fast and powerful cars, and they can accelerate from 0 to 60 in 3.2 seconds. I mean, that's insane, right? And a lot of these people, they have problems adjusting to the one pedal driving that is so popular with Tesla. Once you start driving a Tesla and you go back to a gasoline car, it's hard to adjust. Even for me, switching between two different Teslas, it's difficult. So I can only imagine how difficult it is to switch between a Tesla and coming from a gasoline car to a Tesla. So all these people, and they're probably not fit to drive, and they're probably used to these cars that do not have instantaneous acceleration, and they keep on blaming the car as unintended acceleration. So I cannot see how that can happen in a Tesla, where the car would, when you're pulling into a parking spot, would automatically accelerate at 100%. That just doesn't happen. I mean, just own up to your mistake. Why would you blame the car? I get why you would blame the car, because you don't want your husband to be mad at you, first of all. And a lot of these people that drove their car into storefronts and stuff like that are women. And there's also a very old guy that plowed his car into a wall and went through the wall and went into a swimming pool. So anyway, I think this is enough of a rant. And as if you were paying attention to the center console, it works pretty well under certain conditions like this. Even under this really sunny conditions, it still works pretty well. The best thing is to have something to follow. Like if there's a car in front of you, that's when autopilot works the best. And when it's really in a straight line, not in a really deep turn like this, because it will probably miss the car in front of you. The radar isn't that spread out, it looks like. If it didn't catch the car yesterday, it's not that wide a spread. Either that, or the software is ignoring some of the wider areas and thinking that it's the other lane instead of being in your lane, because it's such a sweeping turn. But I've learned to trust autopilot on the highway when I'm in the center lane. I do still get a little bit nervous when I'm in the left lane when there's a medium, but the ultrasonics really go off about that. But for some reason, the ultrasonics doesn't seem to prevent me from going into the medium. So yeah, I don't know what to say about that. When I get too close, I get nervous. It seems like it works pretty well. If you look at my tunnel video, you'll see that the ultrasonics keep on coming up, making sure that I don't crash into the side of the wall, even though it's like really, really, really tight in the tunnel. So yeah, hopefully these videos will help you to understand autopilot a little bit more, and when to use it, when not to use it, and what it is actually good for. Right now it's pretty much limited to certain it performs really well in certain conditions only. If you take it out of those conditions, you have to really, really keep an eye out on it. Make sure that it doesn't go nuts on you and kill you. Not kill you, but get you in an accident and kill somebody else or whatever. So my advice is to try to learn it as much as you can. Play with it, and when you're playing with it and you're not sure of it, make sure that you're ready to take over, and just test it. And hopefully these videos that I'm making will help you understand how it works. And yeah, if you want to rewatch it for the beautiful foliage, you can. I love it at this time of the year. I don't, yeah, I really find it funny how people find the death of trees to be really beautiful. Not death, but it's more like hibernation, but it seems like death, right? So yeah, going through these seasons, you don't get these seasons elsewhere. You only get it in the Northeast. So I really enjoy this time when the foliage is magnificent. So anyway, that's the end of my rant and the end of this video. So hope you like it, and hope you like this new format. I haven't had any comments about the format, only that, you know, I'm doing it wrong or don't use it in this situation, blah blah blah. Only negative comments. I've had a couple of good comments, but yeah. So anyway, so yeah. Like and subscribe, and leave a comment below on how you like the new format that I'm doing for Autopilot. And thanks for watching. So yeah, most of my watchers are actually not my subscribers, so I really don't want any fanatics on my channel. So if you're some crazy fanatic, fanboy, whatever, stay off my channel, please, and don't comment, and yeah, just go away. This is really for people who want to learn more about the system, and if you don't agree with what I'm putting up, don't watch it. Simple as that. But if you like the video, please leave a comment. I do appreciate the constructive criticism, but please don't use foul language, because you're only going to get banned.